welcome to the yoga session, which we're starting with supine position with slightly elevated chest by placing the block between the shoulder blades. That help us to feel a bit of a stretch on the front of the chest. And the second block is under the back of the head, making sure that you're not feeling that your neck is compressed. You keep chin comfortable and stretching the arms on the side of the body. So the main sensation I would invite you to explore is the stretchy sensation on the front of the chest and some external rotation of the shoulders. And I'm inviting you to take a couple of exhales to just settle on this elevation. Focusing on expansion of the chest. You might finding that your breath will be slightly restricted from the usual supine position because of this lower back extension. Even if it's a very moderate extension, and feel that you might be restricted on your inhale, so don't force it. Just let it be natural for your body. And focus on this stretchy sensation on the front of the chest. And then allow a bit of a gravity to work on your arms and the hips and legs on your exhalation. So taking a moment here to settle in the space and admit the beginning of the practice. We'll have here another 5 exhales. You might want to adjust the position of the arms to play a little bit with this external rotation of the shoulders to find maybe more intense sensations of stretch when your arms are coming closer to T position, and release it a little bit when elbows comes a little bit closer to the torso, to the hips, a little bit lower, so you can go wide and then come back closer. So feel how that stretching the area of the armpit maybe. And then let us release the arms and we'll bend the knees, gently roll on one side to remove the blocks. And we will come into the seated position. So take your time to transfer yourself in a seated position, and let us have just one leg straight, the other leg bent. That will be a little bit more comfortable seated position for the lower back. And just if you're finding that you would like to elevate your hips on the block, that could be a possibility, of course, always in a seated position. And just release your arms on the sides of the hips, trying to keep yourself tall. And when you settle in this position, let us lift the shoulders toward the ears and then drop them down. So as I give you cues to move the shoulders, I want you to think of your scapula. So lift your shoulder blades up and then slide them down. So visualize how they're moving up and moving down. So it goes elevation and depression. And I want you to focus on these sensations of the depressed shoulder blade, how that feels on the top of the shoulders. It's like you're having a longer neck, right? So go a couple of more times. And when you're lifting, try not to round in the midsection. You're still maintaining yourself tall. And let us just go for the couple of shoulder circles here. One direction and then the other direction. So notice how your shoulder blades kind of are hugging you when you bring them forward, and then you squeezing them when you bring shoulders back, right? And then you have a little bit of elevation and a little bit of depression, okay? Change the direction. Maybe one more time, and then bring your arms parallel to the floor. And here we're gonna squeeze and move the shoulder blades forward. So our protraction and retraction of the shoulders. Squeeze and move forward. It's like someone is pulling your arms forward, like you're hugging yourself, and then you squeeze. And then bring it forward, and then squeeze. So activating those small muscles that are around the shoulder blade, and some gray area, I would call it, for us, as we're not really moving much of the shoulder blades, and very often trapezius, especially top trapezius, this triangle muscle on the superficial muscle on the upper back, take action almost in every movement, and would like to activate some deeper muscles, the next layer under the traps. And let us just shake the arms, and we'll come into the tabletop position here, and we'll continue with the cat and dog stretch. And as you come to the cat stretch, let us have a pause in the cat stretch, tucking the tailbone under, head down, and just pay attention what's happening in your upper back, in your shoulder blades position. So here is like you're hugging yourself, but you're also involving the pelvis here, pulling the belly in. And then very slowly move into the dog position, and let us also hold this dog position, keeping shoulders away from the ears and slightly squeezing the shoulder blades while you're also moving your pelvis. And from here, as you go today from the cat and dog stretch, while you want to articulate the full length of the spine, pay attention how you can help to do that for the thoracic spine by using some muscles of your upper back. And move your head as well, as much as you are able to add a bit of a stretch for the neck, but don't compress too much in this extension here. So let us go 2 more times for the both directions. And then we'll stop into the neutral position, and we'll come to the child pose with the wide knees, and move your arms forward, bring the forehead down on the floor, and then I'm inviting you to get your active child pose. So that means you're walking your fingers forward, and your elbows, wrists are off the floor. And then notice how your shoulder blades elevated, like your traps comes toward your ears, and you want to move them down. So think of a little bit of depression of the shoulder blades, and that's gonna create some space, like wide position for your upper back. And again, move the arms forward, so like you shrug your shoulders, and then think of separating the shoulder blades. It feels like you're forcing your thoracic spine into extension, like pressing it down. So one more time. Shrug your shoulders forward. So elevate your shoulder blades, and then think of moving them down toward the base of the spine, how that feels. Taking another breath, and then just lift yourself again up into the tabletop position. And this time we're going to practice our protraction and retraction in the tabletop position. So squeeze the shoulder blades, keeping the neck and head parallel, not moving your pelvis, and then press it up. So we know that this pressed up position activate a lot of muscles around the shoulder and stabilizing the shoulder. So sometimes it's not easy to find this movement with the weight bearing on the hands. So we just did that with the arms parallel to the floor. Now we are in the tabletop position with some weight of the arms. So see if you can separate the movement of the mid back from your neck and your lower back. And then let us puff the space between the shoulder blades up toward the ceiling. Strong arms, push the floor, keep your neck neutral, and let's extend one leg at a time and come into plank where you're squeezing your glutes, pulling the belly in. Strong legs, push the floor, and think that you're resisting to the gravity from your abdomen muscles. So pulling them in, holding, 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 and then drop the knees. Take your knees wide and come to child pose. Maybe just have a quick rest for the wrist and shoulders. If you feel you want to get your flexed wrist here, go ahead. And then we're coming into the downward dog. So take your time to find your downward dog. And in downward dog, I would like today to invite you to do the same what we did in the child pose. It's like you're shrugging your shoulders up toward the ears, and then think of sliding your shoulder blades back, like you're making your upper back look wide. And again, shrugging your shoulders, so elevating your shoulder blades and trying your best to depress. They might not be depressing, but you're feeling that you're using your triceps and serratus anteriors to stabilize it here. So you're creating space on the side of the ears. And again, one more time, shrugging the shoulders like you're pressing, sliding the mat away, and then you're pressing the mat away, but you're taking your arms insertion toward the base of the spine, and feel it here. Feel your mid-back working. And then on next inhale, look forward and walk to the front of the mat. Hand here for the breath. And then let's slowly come up into standing position. Exhale. Great. So for next one, we can use the resistance band. We can use just a strap. We can practice without. It's not essential. It's just give you a little bit of awareness, a little bit of engagement of the core for next one. So if you own the resistance band, step with your left foot on the resistance band, okay, and hold this in the left hand. And you're holding that with a wrist parallel to your shoulder, and you have just a little bit of resistance. So you're holding this in front of your hip. So if this is my frontal, you hold this in front. Yeah. So we using the resistance band just to be aware of engagement of the core, aware of engagement of the leg, and then we're going to bring the right arm parallel. We're going to make a fist with the right hand, and we're going to go into the shoulder circles here. And I want you to use this band in front of you as your reference. So if you are rotating, you see how your band goes with you. That's the only reason we're using the band. So you come back to the front. So let us go slowly. So we're going to lift the arm as far behind the head as we can reach with a straight elbow. And then we'll start rotating the palm. So if you open the fist, palm is facing the floor. and we bring the arm into extension without rotation of the torso, and release. And then we're going to first come with the arm into extension, and then slowly rotate it up here as far behind the head as you can, and bring it in front. Okay, let us do it one more time. If you need the release of your left arm, yeah, definitely shake it, and then hold. This is more for engagement of the core, not to allow your torso to rotate. So come up and go all the way back. Feel your triceps here working. Extension of the arm is also the triceps work. And release, and then let goes back, and rotate the shoulder back here, and release. Okay, so we'll go the 3 on the other side. So you're stepping with the right foot, holding the band. Doesn't need to be a huge resistance, just a little bit. So give you a little bit more awareness of your core engagement, and also the reference if you are rotating. So keep it aligned with the right hip and right shoulder. And we're going to bring the left arm parallel to the floor, make a fist, and then lift the arm as far behind the head as you can, and then rotate and bring it into extension. So shoulders remain, hips remain facing the front of the mat. Release, and then lift the arm very slowly. Slower you're able to do the move, is better to understand the restrictions, the end of range in your shoulder joint. And bring the arm back here, lifting as far behind the head, rotate as far into extension as you can without rotation, and release. Lift the arm and bring it back here to the front, and release. Okay, so let us place the band in front of your mat if you're using one, and come into the front of the mat with the mountain pose. So with the work that we already put into shoulders, you have a lot of awareness to externally rotate your shoulders and placing your palms facing the front. So have like squeezing the shoulder blades, but it's not something that you do from the mid back. You just keep an awareness of the wide chest opening, but at the same time you're using your glutes and lower abdomen to get your pelvis in neutral position. And just take a couple of exhales in and out, finding the pace that you will use for the flow. With next inhale, lift the arms up and hold here for the moment. Check where your shoulders, where your traps are. If you are shrugging your shoulders, try your best not to. Bring the palms together, hinge from the hips, exhale into the fold. Release the head down. On next inhale, step your left foot back and drop your left knee down to the floor. Take a block under the left hand and bring the right hand under on the top of the right knee. And let us very gently twist to the right, sending the left shoulder forward, and then return back to face the front of the mat. And again, slightly twist, activating your mid back, and release at the same time. You have a bit of a stretch on the left hip flexors again. Rotate here, and exhale, come back to the center. Finding your tabletop position, setting your hands under the shoulders, tuck your toes and lift your knees off the floor, maintaining neutral spine, holding for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Drop the knees down to the floor. Step your left foot forward. So finding your comfortable lunge, bringing the block onto the right hand, bring the left hand to the left knee, so wrist setting here, and then we're going to twist to the left, sending the right shoulder forward, activating the mid back, and unfold again. Inhale, twist, and come back. One more time. Let us twist and return back to the center. Again, come into the tabletop position. Make sure that you're pressing the floor and puffing the space between the shoulder blades. And then we're gonna extend one leg at a time and come into plank, squeezing the glutes, pushing the floor, holding for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then sending the hips up and back into the downward dog, bending the knees, and like we practiced earlier, you can do the shoulder blades push-ups. So going toward the ears and then spreading them apart. Going toward the ears and spreading them apart. So I want you to feel this activation of the shoulder muscles with the body weight, with a weight bearing on your arms. And then just find something that feels right for your shoulders, where you feel really stable shoulders, and hold your downward dog, emphasizing the traction of the spine. Make sure you're not tensing your neck. Head is just between your arms, and then look forward and walk to the front of the mat. Set your feet hip distance. Drop the head down, very passive fold, and let's go vertebra by vertebra up toward the standing position. Immediately opening your shoulders, come into the mountain pose, taking the exhale, and when you're ready, let's flow again. Inhale, reach the arms up, bring the palms together. Exhale, fold forward all the way down. This time we're going to stay into high lunge, and we will pick up the band if you own one, taking the band in front. Very light resistance here. Then we're going to stretch to touch the chest and then release. If you don't have, just hold a strong fist and then just bench, like pretending that you're stretching, and release. If you have in the band, you're just going wide arms, touching the chest, and release. One more time, touching and release. Bring the band down to the floor and step into downward dog. Exhale, and now after a slight activation of the chest muscle, just think of the position here of the shoulders, not just in terms of where the traps, where shoulder blades, but also activate your chest muscles. So squeeze them, and that's going to help you to activate the shoulders as well. And then look forward and flow into the plank. Push the floor, hold the plank for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Come to the downward dog. Exhale. Then step the right foot closer to the midline. Step the left foot forward into lunge. Pick up your band if you own one, and also bring it in front of the chest. And this time we're gonna bring it behind the back as far as you can, stretching the front of the shoulders, and then bring it back to the front. If you're not having the band, just go with the arms as far back and pulse it here. So just pulsing if you're not owning the band. So go behind and go in front, and go behind and then go in front. Last time, go behind and go in front. Bring it down to the floor and step into downward dog. Exhale, long spine. Taking the breath, flowing into plank, push the floor. So feel how you're puffing the space between the shoulder blades, tucking tailbone under, and then drop the knees and come all the way down to the floor. In the belly line position, we will bring the arms into cactus pose, 90-degree elbows, wrists are straight, strong legs and glutes. We're going to lift the face maybe 2 inches off the floor, and then we're going to lift the forearms off the floor, keeping the wrist parallel. And try to lift, think of lifting your forearms rather than your wrists. Okay, your wrists are straight. Press, 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 press. You're feeling like you're squeezing the shoulder blades, muscles on outside of the shoulder blades are working hard, and then release the arms down. Press yourself into the child pose. Exhale here, maybe feel a bit of the shaking of the shoulders, relax them. Taking the breath, and then let us come into the downward dog. Exhale. Have your knees bent. Taking the breath. And then I will invite you to drop your knees down to the floor. Just sit on your heels. I'm going to show you the flow that I want to add today. So from the downward dog, we're coming like a child pose, sending the hips back and creating the momentum to step the right foot forward, and we're going to twist. And then we're going to go back, and then we're going to step the left foot, and we're going to twist. You're welcome to have a block hand here in front, so you will be able to use it for assistance. So stepping back, stepping forward, twisting. Okay? So let us come into the downward dog to start this flow. And we're going to go slow, not as fast as I demonstrate. So in a downward dog, bend your knees as much as your ankles allows you. Stretch the torso, and then look forward and step your right foot forward close to your left hand. You can have a left hand on the floor and lift your right arm up into twist. You might use the block here. On exhale, bring the hand down to the floor and step your right foot back and bend your knees. So it's like a child pose, but your knees are off the floor. And then using the momentum, throw your hips forward, your left foot forward, and twist to the left. Okay, using maybe the block if you need, and then bring the hand down, and again step into the child pose. We'll have two more of each side. Stepping the right foot forward, and opening the chest to the right. Bring hand down. You can go your pace, you can go a little bit slower. We're gonna wait you, no worries. Come to the child pose. Stepping the left foot forward, taking the left arm up. Bring the hand down. Again into the bent knees. Stepping the right foot forward, taking the right arm up. Coming back into the child pose. Stepping left, taking the left arm up. This is the last side if you are following exactly my pace. If not, go to the child pose. And this time you drop your knees and you will bring the arms on the sides of the hips and let your shoulders and wrists rest. Exhale here. Another exhale. Hopefully you caught your breath. Bring your hands in front of your knees. Lift your chest, tuck your toes, lift your knees off the floor. Bring your hands on the thighs, hold here for a breath. And then you can use your hands to help you to come up and come into standing pose. So we are now on the back of your mat, and the next flow will start from there. So opening your chest with some external rotation. And when you're ready, inhale, lift the arms up. Bring the palms together, hinge from the hips. Exhale, fold and release the head. Make sure you're not holding the tension on your neck. Look forward and walk with your hands into the plank. Push the floor, squeeze your glutes. And bring your left hand closer to the midline. Then drop your heels to the left and take your right arm up. If it's too hard for you, drop your left knee down to the floor to assist your shoulder if your shoulder just not able to hold your body weight. So your knee could be on the floor or it's the straight legs. Bring the right hand down to the floor and adjust yourself into the downward dog. Exhale. long spine. And next inhale, flow into plank. Bring the right hand closer to the midline. Drop your heels to the right. Again, welcome to put your right knee down to the floor and open yourself here, or hold a full side plank. Keep chest open. And then exhale, bring the left hand down and adjust yourself into the downward dog. Exhale. Look to your toes and walk your hands back toward your toes. Hand here, release, and very slowly, let's roll up into standing position. Exhale. So a little bit load for the shoulder. Okay, let's go again. Inhale, lift the arms up. Exhale, folding all the way down into the passive fold. Look forward, walk into the plank. So here is variation. You can stay in the full plank, and we're gonna tap with the right hand the left shoulder, tap with the left hand the right shoulder. If it's too much, drop your knees and just tap here. So your variation is here, tap, tap, without moving your hips. And you can just in your plank, tap, 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 tap. And let's go for another 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, whatever you can put into this count, and come into downward dog. Exhale. Look on your toes and walk toward your toes. Exhale, hand here, and let's slowly come up into the standing position. Exhale, take a breath. I know that was a bit of a challenge. We're going to do it one more time a bit later through the practice. Let's go. Inhale, lift the arms up. Bring the palms together. Exhale, hinge all the way down. Look forward, walk your hands into the plank, and then immediately step your right foot forward. If it needs several steps, that's fine. Bring your hands to the hips. Lift the torso up. Distribute your weight between your legs to have a left leg for support. Let's bring the right hand to your lower back and take the left arm up. Palms facing the front, and keep opening the left shoulder. Keep stretching the front of the left shoulder here. On exhale, bring the hands down to the floor and step into downward dog. Exhale. Then on inhale, flow into plank, and you're welcome to drop your knees right away down and go all the way down to the floor. Exhale. So this time we will bring the arms in the letter Y, make a fist, have a strong legs. Again, lift the face just maybe a couple of inches off the floor, and then lift your thumbs up toward the ceiling. And hold here, try to go high, but don't go with your chin and neck. Work from the mid back, holding 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, bring the hands on the sides of the rib cage and press yourself into the child pose. Exhale here. So relax your shoulders, maybe shake a little bit from side to side. And when you're ready, just come to the downward dog to prepare yourself for the left leg lunge. So step in the left foot forward into the lunge, lifting the torso up, strong hips. Bring the left hand to your lower back, take the right arm up and go as far back as you can. Feeling some stretch on the whole right side of the body. Keeping the front knee 90 degrees. Exhale, bring the hands on the floor, step into downward dog. Exhale, every time in downward dog, check where your shoulder blades are. Have a stable position for the shoulders. Flow into plank, drop the knees, and come all the way down to your belly. This time, we're going to take the arms into T position, but we're going to make a fist and turn the thumbs up toward the ceiling. And then again, we're going to lift the face a couple of inches, not high, neck is neutral, and then lift your thumbs up. And try not to let them turn down to the floor. You're trying to rotate and press them up. Holding 5, 4, or maybe pulsing. 3, 2, 1, and release. Bring the hands on the sides of the rib cage and press yourself into the child pose. Exhale again, relax your shoulders, relax your mid back, relax your wrist if needed. Taking the breath here. And then let's come into the downward dog. Exhale. So in your downward dog, now with all the awareness of the mid back, again, try to find your optimal position for the shoulder blades to stabilize your shoulders. Keep using your triceps here. And then look on your toes and walk your hands to the toes hand here for the breath. And let's very slowly come up into standing position. Exhale. So taking the breath here. And we'll have one more tap in the shoulder sequence, okay? You're welcome to have your knees on the floor if you need. Don't strain your shoulders. With inhale, lift the arms up. Try not to extend. Exhale, folding forward, dropping the head down, hands on the floor. Look forward and walk into the plank. Push the floor, squeeze your glutes, and here is your version. Knees on the floor or full plank. Tap, tap, tap. No hip movement. Tap, tap, tap. Last one. Tap, tap, hold, and then go to the downward dog. Exhale, long spine. Taking the breath. And then let us walk toward the hands. Bring the feet together. Exhale. And very slowly roll up into standing position. Exhale. So next we're going to work a little bit on the hip mobility. Again, the band is your reference. If you're not owning or you're finding that it's really distracting you, or you need support of your wall, you're welcome to use the wall. So we're stepping again, the left foot to secure the band and holding the left hand again. So just pretend that the left side is solid wall, and we're going to lift the right knee up, flex the foot, and you know the movement. We're opening the hip, dropping the knee down and going back and release, and then going opposite and coming all the way to the front, having the pause, and here. So I want you to use the band to engage your left oblique, left glute to stabilize your hip. Go 5 more times on your own with the right leg. You can have a break between the rotation, okay? So maintain a really solid left hip. Lift the right knee high, open that as wide as you can, and then start this internal rotation and go with the knee back. Feeling some hamstring here, glute work, and release. Keep your foot actively flexed, and then lift and come all the way back here and release. So we have 3 more to go on your own. And this will be the last one. Your left hip may be tight, so you can shake it if needed. And go. Try not to have here drop knee. So you're trying to keep your knee high when you experiment with your internal rotation. And the same is back. So try now to lift, 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 and release. Okay. It looks like I was the slowest one from you. That means that you need to go a little bit slower. You want to articulate the full range. And we go to the other side. So stepping with the right foot, hold it in front. This is just for reference and to help you to engage your core, help you to stabilize your right hip. And we're going with the left hip's rotation. So that's Also challenge our balance here, and balance is always the hip and core and ankle stabilization, right? So all that we know is the key points of our balance. Yes, and we topping this balancing with a quite challenging hip movement. So if you're able to do this, it's really great. It's quite intense mobility drill. And I don't know if you're doing 4, let's do one more just to get it to 5 for sure. And release. Okay, great. So we will not need the band anymore. Take it away, shake your legs, and let's come down to the floor and right away come to 90-90. Having the left leg in front. And be with the side to the camera like I do. So your right hip, right knee, right foot is facing the camera, right? So your right thigh and your left shin are straight to the camera here, okay? And let us rotate toward the left knee. You allow in the right hip to maybe come off the floor, and you're welcome to lean a little bit forward, or you might feel that you lean a little bit to the left. You want to lift the right knee off the floor, keeping like a plate. It's parallel to the floor, and drop 5 times. Yes, you're welcome to have your arms on your shoulders and use more of a core here. Feeling the glute hamstring again because you're keeping this back foot flexed. Lifting and dropping. Lifting and dropping. And one more time, lift and drop, and then we'll go to the other side. So rotate yourself now, having your left knee facing the camera, right heel facing the camera, shin and thigh parallel. You're rotating toward the right knee using the 2 hands, first of all, to align yourself, and then you're welcome to have your hands on your shoulders. You might find that this is more restricted. Lift your left knee and drop down. So you might have a bit of a lean forward and to the side to be able to activate muscles of the inner thigh to lift to the knee. Come down. Let's have it one more time. And down, and last time. And down. I'm gonna return back to the right side, and I will just remind most of you are very familiar with this move. So this time I want to use more of a core. So if you not necessarily have your left hand to be on the floor, try to use your core. You're gonna lift the knee, and you're gonna bring this knee to align heel and knee. So it's like 2 shells here. And then you open your right knee. So you come in here to the center with your external rotation of the hips. Then you're gonna be closing that, and then you're gonna move the knee back and drop. Okay, let's do it together. So try not to be rounded as much as possible. Think of pressing the chest forward. So maybe lean into the left hip a lot, lifting the right knee, and then bringing the knee, one knee above the other knee, and then open. So you sit now on both sit bones. You have your external rotation. The only difference that you keep your leg off the floor, your inner thigh working. Now we're gonna close that back in, and then you shift the right leg back and drop. 2 more times. Lift, bring it in, open, sit tall, straight spine, close, shift it back, and drop. 1 more time. Lift, bring it in, open, sitting symmetrically here. Then again to the left hip, slide back, and drop. Great. So let us go to the left side and have 3 reps here. So always the other side feels different. You might adjust it a little bit here, maybe more leaning to the right, and then lift the left knee and slowly shift. So have a pulse here, heel above the heel, knee above the heel. Then open. Keep your feet flexed actively, right? External rotation of the hip. Then come with this left internal rotation and move it back. Hold for a sec and then drop. Again, lift. Slide it in. Open. Close. Slide it back. Drop. Again, the lift. Slide it in. Open. Close. Slide it back. Hold. And release. Great. Let us extend the legs here. And they'll just come into the very passive hold. Relax your head. So we were in a little bit of a torque position for the lower back. Our hips were in a uncomfortable position. So here, just want to rest. We want to stretch the back of the legs. Maybe move the head from side to side here. And then very slowly come up into seated position. And I would invite you to use the block to elevate your hips. We're going to extend the right leg forward and bend the left knee. Interlace the hands on the top of the left knee and sit in tall. So what the right hip want to do, right hip want to go to external rotation. So toe is pointed out. Make sure your toe is straight up and you press in the rib cage against the thigh. Your left knee goes up toward the ceiling. Then hug your knee just to secure that. Use the left arm behind the spine and gently twist. Close your eyes and except of putting effort to rotate, I would invite you to relax and allow the depth to come from the relaxation. Like there's nothing that restricts your spine in the midsection to rotate. Our next exhale, unfold back to the center, sit tall here, and we'll change. Extend your left leg, bend your right knee, interlace the hands, get yourself tall. Again, control your foot, it's flexed. Hug your right knee, bring the right arm behind, and gently twist. Keep shoulders relaxed. Think of rotation of your shoulders above the hips, so hips facing the front, shoulders want to be rotated 90 degrees or aiming to go 90 degrees here. So the full rotation of the mid back. Again, think of relaxation rather than effort. And return back to the center, sit tall for the breath. We're going to remain on the block for this one. We're going to bring the heels together, toes apart, so very active ankle. So Baddha Konasana. You don't need to try to bring your heels close to the groin area. It could be comfortable. So whatever you feel comfortable in your knees, hold in your ankles, and we're going to start leaning forward. On some point, you can bring your elbows in front of your knees, kind of hug your toes, and continue to use your biceps to pull your chest parallel to the floor forward. You might feel like you were pressing your knees down, but if you pressing your knees down, you really need to be making sure that you're in an active, flexed ankle position. So think of the string attached to the crown of the head that pulls you toward the corner between ceiling and the front wall. Long spine here. Try to avoid rounding yet. try to keep chest open. So it might be really high for you. So you might be here without looking to your heels. You look maybe 2 meters in front of you, lengthening. So it feels like a whole lower back is right now stretched. And then we will release. For next variation, we will remove the block. And here you might bring your toes together. You might bring the heels a little bit closer if it feels right for you. And this time you're hugging your toes and elbows in front, and this time you passively rounding your spine. So you're not pulling yourself, you're not using your arms. You're just rounding and allowing the body to just stay here relaxed. It's a great passive stretch for the spinal muscles. Your elbows are relaxed, shoulders are relaxed, and you feel a bit of the inner thigh stretch here. Just by the gravity, knees collapsing toward the floor. Great stretch for the neck though, if you're allowing the head to be heavy. And then let's lift the head off the floor. We will have a block and we'll come into the supported bridge. So when you come down to the floor, bend your knees, place your heels under your knees, and then we'll lift the hips and we'll place the block on the lowest level. So you don't need to go high. You're placing the block under the pelvis to create some traction of the lower back. Taking the arms wide, and you're welcome to close your eyes. We'll have this supine position for a moment. Maybe feeling that your pelvis is tilted slightly up. Let's have here another 5 exhales, letting the belly be relaxed and spine collapsing toward the floor. Create a nice stretch here. Arms are where it feels right. Make sure that you again not tensing the top of the shoulders. So maybe not T, but A position here. Then let us remove the block, bring the vertebra by vertebra, your pelvis down to the floor. Let's bend the right knee, interlace the hands at the top of the right knee. Try to avoid compressing your rib cage. Open your knee slightly to the right and then pull toward the right shoulder. Then extend your left leg, keeping the left foot flexed. Make sure that you're not lifting your left shoulder, so keep your shoulder blades and hips flat and just compress slightly the right side, the right hip flexor here, everything on the right side of the body, maintaining your flat lower back if it's possible. Even you can bring your chin toward the chest a little bit and create some stretch for the back of the neck. So like you want to impress on the spinal column flat on the mat. Taking another exhale. Let's release the right leg. Take a breath here. So feel how the lightness sensation arising on the right side of the body. And we're going to go with the left. So bend your left knee. You might first bend your right knee to just find where your left knee should end. So go a little bit around and press the knee toward the left shoulder, and then extend your right leg, flex your right foot, and then using a little bit of a bicep strength, pulling the thigh toward the chest, impressing the whole spine down to the floor. Keeping the right foot flexed and active, and maybe bringing the chin toward the chest, adding a bit of a stretch on the back of the neck as well. And let's release the left leg. This time we take the arms in T position. Rearrange your shoulder blades, so make sure that you keep your neck long, and then let us bend the knees, keep the feet on the edges of the mat, so feet are wider than hips, and let's drop the knees to the right and then to the left. So go to the windshield movements a couple of times, just to activate a little bit. There's internal rotation of the hip on the top leg, and then welcome to stop with the knees on the left and turn your head to the right. Relax your right shoulder. Feel some stretch on the front of the right thigh. And then bring the knees up. Reset. Drop the knees to the right. Turn the head to the left. Feel again some passive internal rotation of the left hip. So feel quite tension arise on the left side. Internal rotation of the hip is not a popular movement. We really use an internal rotation in the functional movement, so it's nice to add it to practice for balancing and keeping the hips healthy. Return the knees back up, reset your hips, reset your arms, shoulder blades, and then extend your legs for Shavasana. Let's take a deep inhale and exhale through the mouth. And here we are spending a couple of minutes in a final relaxation. We put the shoulders in a quiet work, and we worked on some hip mobility. That's where you would like to test how your joints respond into practice. But those movements also involve their spine. So try not to keep the spine rigid, but relax all the muscles to let the spine be collapsed toward the floor like a rope. Allow the breath to flow in and out in a natural pace. When you're ready, allow the depth in your breath, and then some gentle movements in toes and fingers. Circle the wrists and ankles. Bend your knees one at a time. Maybe bring your knees to your chest, a little bit more of massage in the lower back here. And when you're ready, drop the knees to one side. Using the left hand, lift yourself into seated position. Maybe cross-legged. Bring the hands on the sides of the hips to realign yourself, and then bring the hands in front of the heart. Try to keep your chest as open as possible. Like you feel like you're pressing the sternum into your thumbs. Thank yourself for being able to practice and take the positive vibe to be your guide for the rest of the day. Namaste.